What's up, everybody? This is A7X Fan Ben, and this is another video battle report. This one is for a 5-player, 40-point game, and it was played at Mock's Boarding House Bellevue in August 2023, and it was one of the most memorable games I've ever played, mostly because of the people I got to play against. It was a really awesome opportunity to play with some of the original members of the Wizkids Pirates team. So I got to play with Mike Mulvihill, who was a lead designer and game piece creator for the majority of the sets produced from Spanish Domain all the way through Rise of the Fiends. Tiffany O'Brien, my friend who I did a podcast with back in 2019 and played against at this same venue actually in 2021. She was the former Wizkids Product Manager when Pirates was being made. Becky Wilson, who was a Wizkids Marketing Communications Manager towards the end of the Pirates run, along with Jared, her husband. So this was really one of my favorite opportunities that I've ever had with this game. So a huge thanks to Tiffany for helping to coordinate it, and thanks for everybody for playing. This is a really amazing thing, kind of a crazy, unexpected kind of bucket list thing to be able to do. So they hadn't played in a long time, so I made fleets for all the players. And so we started with all crew face up just to keep it simple. And there were I didn't include any events in the fleets. We didn't use any unique treasures or forts either, but it was mostly standard rules. We intended to do basically pure standard. We made a few exceptions to that based on the ocean size. We didn't have all the islands at least 3L away from each other, but some of them were, and then others were like 2L or whatever. And then a couple of the terrain pieces may have been within S of islands or other terrain, but not too big a deal. So then we each placed 3 terrain, and flat earth rules were used with the borders being an impassable boundary. So pretty nice setup overall. And then you can see us there at the end. So really amazing opportunity to play with some of the original Wizkids employees. So just totally insane. Just for perspective, basically almost all the game pieces used in this game were created by Mike Mulvihill, and then they were basically marketed by Becky and the product manager Tiffany. So just insane to think about. So anyway, so I'll get into the gameplay here. So Tiffany rolled to go first, and she was stoked to be playing as her own character in the game, created by Mike Mulvihill. And this is Eileen Bridget O'Brien, who you probably know from the Mysterious Islands or Savage Shores sets. She's in both of those. And so she was on the Congress, so I made a American fleet for the rest of her fleet. So Tiffany's American fleet had the Congress with Eileen, or she was playing as herself, so pretty crazy, along with helmsman and oarsman for the main gunship, and then a gold runner, the Nana Nui, from Savage Shores with helmsman, explorer, and oarsman. And then at the lower left there, you can see my pirate fleet that I made for the game, Cannibal King, plus Hammersmith from Fire and Steel, explorer, and oarsman. And then Skipping Stone plus Gentleman Jocard, Jenny Gallows from Spanish Main, and Jenny's Red Rampage. So I'd been wanting to use the Cannibal King for a while. I want to give another thank you to Velm, who gave me one earlier this year, along with a Savage Shores box that I unboxed on this same YouTube channel. And because I do have a Cannibal King in New York, but it was broken at some point, and I didn't have one in Washington. So I wanted to. It's one of my favorite, like maybe slightly underrated, like pirate hybrids. So I wanted to break it out again, and this was a good opportunity to do so in kind of a small game. Not the most competitive ship, but still decent. So, and then that ship, so that was the main focus of the fleet, and then I filled it out with I might as well go with another catamaran. So then Skipping Stone kind of completed the pirate catamaran theme, and then I wanted to spice it up a little bit. I like to use name crew, so I wanted to do a little combo action there. So with Jocard gives +1 cargo, and then there's a link for another +1, giving the ship 5 total cargo spaces, and then 3 crew that take up space, not including Jocard, so 2 total open cargo spaces. So kind of increasing her ability to be a decent gold runner with that +2 gold, and I wanted to take advantage of the link. And with the +1 boards, arguably both ships could kind of be hybrids, or at least like raider treasure stealer ships that could try to board opponents for gold. So, and then in the center left, you can see Mike Mulvihill's Spanish fleet that I made for him. All these fleets were based on the player preferences. So they basically sent me their player, like their faction preferences beforehand, and then I made fleets based on that. Tiffany's was mostly based on her own character, and then Mike wanted Spanish, Becky wanted French, so that's how I went about it. So Mike's Spanish fleet had La Resolucion from Ocean's Edge with Captain, Helmsman, Oarsman, Concepcion from Rise of the Fiends with Helmsman and Explorer, and Algeciras with a Captain from Ocean's Edge. And then Jared, Becky said Jared hadn't played the game much, but he liked more like complex stuff or stuff a little more flair. So I gave him the option of either, so he had Bay's Revenge with Captain and Explorer to start with, and then he had the option of either doing Royal James with an Explorer plus the Lechem Namad sea monster, the squid from Ocean's Edge, or instead of those 23 points, have the Pestilence with Captain, Helmsman, Oarsman. He picked the Scorpion, so you can see those at the top, what we're calling the North here in this battle report, just because it's from like my perspective where I was playing at the table. And then, so that way he had like Reverse Captain, Galley, Scorpion, Fear, like a bunch of abilities and some different rules and keywords to look at and play around with. So, and then Becky's in the east there. She's got La Ville de Paris with Captain and Helmsman, Cleopatra with Helmsman and Intrepide, just empty. So Home Island Raider, big slow gunship, and good old classic French Gold Runner. So with that, we were ready to set sail on the seas of nostalgia. So I'll get into the other pictures here. So ships mostly scattered to different islands in search of loot. Tiffany's Nananui was the first to explore. Algeciras whirled in the northwest to join the Cannibal King in the hunt for gold, but lost a mast in transit. So you can see that at the top left. So my Cannibal King with Hammersmith couldn't resist the tempting Spaniard prize. So Hammersmith led the Cannibal King's gunners in a brief broadside off her starboard quarter, leaving the Algeciras derelict. In the meantime, one of his explorers ran off onto the beach to snag some booty, because I had Captain Helmsman and Explorer on that ship, so I was able to do both that turn. Skipping Stone has explored the southwestern island and loaded the best 2 coins from it. Bay's Revenge and Congress are exploring, while Nananui gets Tiffany/Eileen on the scoreboard. So she's the first to unload. And you can see that kind of like the center bottom right. And then continuing a few rounds later, we see Hammersmith's capture of the Algeciras at the lower left as Cannibal King returns home to pirate waters via the Whirlpool. French are busy exploring the southeast with their 3 different ships at 2 different islands. And then Tiffany got some gold with the Congress and is preparing to transfer it to the Nananui since her expatriate keyword on her own name crew prevents the ship from docking at home. And in this picture, mostly just so it shows gold running, so gold piles are accumulating. Everybody was getting some treasures. The French still have it on their ships coming back, but they were about to dock home, all 3, or at least that's what they thought. But then Jared intervened as the curse attacked the French. Pestilence set upon the Ville de Paris and slashed one of her masts and then shot another one off. And then on the next round, he was able to use the blade again. But eventually, the Ville de Paris won the battle and sank the Scorpion, taking him down to just 1 ship, the Bay's Revenge, which you can see exploring at the top left there in kind of like the northeastern area. So the French won that battle, and then they also got some gold home, and the Congress is off their home island, though, so we'll see if that develops into anything. So it would on one of the next turns as Cleopatra sailed out. Tiffany attacked with the Congress as Eileen Bridget O'Brien got in action. So pretty amazing stuff here. Tiffany was able to play as her own character and then use her to take a ship here. She dismasted and would later capture the Cleopatra, and pretty good action there with the move, shoot, ram board with the captain ability. So, and then you can see some other gold running going on as well. So the Americans captured the Cleopatra with the Nananui, and that netted them a valuable home island raider for the late game. In the west, on the left, you can see the Skipping Stone and Concepcion have both docked home their second loads of treasure, which netted myself and Mike a pair of +2 gold bonuses each. So we were both at +4 between Jenny Gallows and the Concepcion's ship ability, giving us the +2 gold ability. So one of the better abilities in the game overall. And more combat, you can see that brewing in the east as the Cannibal King shoots, rams, and boards the Bay's Revenge. So I landed a shot, but Hammersmith couldn't lead the boarding party effectively enough, so I had to toss one of the junior crew, either the Explorer or the Oarsman, I can't remember, but one of them was killed in action there. So, but that started to look like maybe a mistake on the next turn because Intrepide kept speeding northeast towards that unexplored wild island with 4 coins on it in the northeast corner there. And so I knew I couldn't get there and explore sooner, so I went into the fog bank and decided to probably lie in wait for ships to come home because I wanted to use that hoarding gold ability along with Hammersmith's captain to smash some ships up and then steal their gold after. So and then Congress is heading northeast as well. And despite earlier American-French tension, Tiffany and Becky at this point were making it pretty obvious they were probably working together for the rest of the game. So looks like a Franco-American alliance was brewing despite the combat earlier. So and then Nananui in this picture is whirled into the northwest to snag one of the lone remaining wild coins. And Cleopatra is fully repaired. And at this point, I told Tiffany she should go raid Becky's home island, and she didn't really like that idea. And then Becky was talking about she should raid my home island. So, so we're both trying to convince her to raid the other person's home island a little bit, essentially. So, and I was trying to stir the pot here, and probably because I wanted Skipping Stone to go be able to do other stuff, but with the Cleopatra so close to my home island at the bottom of the picture here, I kind of had to keep one ship at home. And Cannibal King and Algeciras, they were already in position to influence some of the late game coins coming home. So Skipping Stone was probably going to have to play that home island defense role. So, and then you can see here at the bottom right, Mike's Concepcion has taken the center whirlpool to the southeast in pursuit of one of the other wild coins, but is immediately set upon by the Ville de Paris, who punishes the Spaniard for encroaching on French territory. So she lost a couple masts to that broadside. Ville de Paris had her long-range guns in range, so she must have went 2 for 3 there with those 2 L's. So one of my favorite French ships, actually. And Intrepide and Congress are taking coins from the northeast island, the top right, while Cannibal King and Algeciras head towards Fog to lie in wait for an ambush. But Jared was still in the game, so even though he lost the Pestilence, the Bay's Revenge had done some pretty good gold running for him, and now he was back in action, able to use his other captain ship, the Bay's Revenge, to attack the Congress, and it was pretty effective. She shot away a couple masts. I think she lost the boarding party, but it was still cool to see him be able to use that other ship as well. So Intrepide can take the last wild coin in the east with ease from that island at the top right here, since the French have already explored that island, so she wouldn't need to explore it separately. And that would play a small role here at the end, or towards the end. So my ships are waiting in the fog bank. They're eager to influence the final coins in play, but a relatively healthy La Ville de Paris is a monstrous presence this late in a 40-point game. So that was definitely a big deterrence factor here on the following turn, because I ended up going north instead of east. But first, I'll talk about the bottom left here. So having lost her helmsman to the Congress earlier in the game, Cleopatra was only moving L, which made me think that I was probably not going to let her get away with a coin, but we'll see how that turns out. Skipping Stone shot away a couple of her, or one of her masts, I should say, when she approached. And over in the northeast now, conflict was erupting again. You can see that at the top right. Ville de Paris was closely watching the Intrepide, so I decided to go after the Congress instead, especially since she was already weakened. And I was able to take out her last couple masts. And unfortunately, Eileen Bridget O'Brien, aka Tiffany, died in one of the boarding parties. But it's all good, just a game. And Algeciras boards to steal one of the Congress's coins, but she only has 1 cargo, so that would be the only one she could take. So Congress still has 1 coin aboard, along with helmsman and oarsman after that conflict. And Nananui and Concepcion are returning home. You can see at the bottom, and then also the center left ship with the red sails. So, and the Nananui did have a coin from that northwestern island when she went back. So, and then I also took a video of the game, which I'll post which I've got in a separate video if you want to check out. It's just like raw footage of some of the attack stuff that happened around this point in the game. So, and here we show a nice close-up. This is a pretty good picture from the game. So this is the typical desperation of the end game in full swing. Ville de Paris smashed up the Cannibal King, blasting away her outrigger defenses and a mast. Bay's Revenge unsuccessfully boards the Algeciras, while Congress rows away at S+S, still with 1 coin aboard. but La Resolucion was approaching. She hadn't seen combat yet, but the hyper-accurate Spanish warship could loom large against this cluster of weakened ships. Critically, Intrepide has docked home all her gold. So that was a big deal. I think she docked home 4 coins, maybe 3, but either way, it was probably a decent amount. I don't know exactly what value she got from the Northeastern Island, but we'll see how that plays a role here towards the end. And then in this picture, Cleopatra did manage to steal a coin from my home island. I think Skipping Stone must have missed both shots, including reroll, on when I was able to shoot at her. And then, I don't know, maybe I forgot to give Skipping Stone an action. I don't think so. But either way, Jenny Gallows was furious and rampaged through the gun decks and finally aroused the gunners. They finally woke up, and with the help of the ship's reroll, they were able to land a couple shots to derelict the Cleopatra. But the Nananui was trying to block. She couldn't quite get into good enough blocking range for those shots to be blocked, but she was there to back up the home island raider. So that would play a big role in the last couple turns, because Nananui was able to tow the Cleopatra to keep her out of the Skipping Stone's cannon range and ramming range. Keep in mind the Skipping Stone didn't have a captain aboard here. So that frustrated Gentleman Jocard and Jenny Gallows, who were pretty pissed that their coin had been stolen. So I ran into Nananui. There wasn't enough I could do, because then either way, Nananui was going to be able to dock the Cleopatra home with that S+S towing speed on the next turn. So it's kind of a disappointing effort from the Skipping Stone, but she was outfitted more to be a gold runner in this game, and she did empty an island and get me a couple bonuses, so it wasn't a totally terrible performance or anything. So, and then in the East, I decided to stand and fight, because neither ship, Algeciras or Cannibal King, was moving faster than L+S, and the other ships in the area were moving about that fast. So I wasn't really going to outrun people, especially there was no whirlpool in the Northeast, actually, so I couldn't take that route home. So I decided to stand and fight and keep boarding for gold, and basically was able to smash up the Congress a little bit. But then Algeciras got taken out by the Bay's Revenge. Jared was having fun with Reverse Captain, actually. I think by now he had lost both the Captain and Explorer from the Bay's Revenge in boarding parties, but he was able to use Reverse Captain to do stuff. I think he shot the Algeciras' mass away and then boarded her for the coin. So it was pretty cool use of Reverse Captain. I think he used it on consecutive turns here, so it was nice. Bay's Revenge is a bit too expensive for a Corsair ship, or for any ship with Reverse Captain like most of them, but she's not bad, actually. So it was cool to see her in action, because I haven't played with her much, so it was nice to see her shine a little bit. So, and then next picture shows Nananui able to tow the Cleopatra home on the American turn, completing a somewhat unlikely homeland raid made more possible by Skipping Stone's combat futility and lack of captain ability. And then here we'd see the Algeciras has been sunk and Cannibal King dismasted, and the last coin or two came home at some point or were sunk soon afterwards, and that was it. So for the scores, Becky's French won. That she had 26 gold. Mike's Spanish fleet came in second, right behind with 25. I was third. The Pirates had 21. Tiffany was fourth. Her Americans had 18. And then Jared's Cursed Corsair fleet had 13 in fifth. So a close finish with a ton of gold collected. So I want to congratulate Becky Wilson on the win. It was a really fun game. I thought it was really cool that we all had a decent amount of gold. So 3 players had more than 20, and everybody had more than a dozen. Everybody was in double digits. So it was pretty neat. Everybody was able to get, I think everybody fired some shots too. So it was pretty cool, well-rounded game. So quite a good Wizkids Pirates game. I want to thank Mike. He gave me some extra busts at the beginning, so thanks for that. And thanks for everybody for playing. This was a really, really awesome, memorable experience. So if you want to check out more Pirates content, I'll have links in the description below, as always. And thanks for watching. It's A7X Fan Ben signing off for now.